Welcome back. Last time on Rise of the Soul Queen, Emily turned 16. Uncle David knew something was wrong. Someone was following them. He didn't hesitate. They ran through the alleys, through the streets, and into a hidden garage. Then came the girl with spray paint. Cat, sharp tongue, sharper instincts. But before they could catch their breath, crash, down came a woman through the skylight. Blade ready, eyes burning. "Get away from her," she cried. Then she charged. Welcome to Episode 4, Memories of War. The moment she charged, David barely had time to react. She was a blur, tall, fast, and deadly. Her dark hair flew around her face like smoke in motion. Her caramel-toned skin dusted in sweat and soot. Her cloak rippled behind her, and in her hand gleamed a blade unlike anything the kids had ever seen. Slender, curved, humming faintly with power. "Whoa, wait!" David threw up an arm, instinct more than strategy. Too late. The woman struck hard and fast. 2 hits before he could fully raise his guard. The first cracked his jaw, the second swept his legs out. He grunted, landed hard, vision already buzzing. "David!" Emily shouted. But he was already on his feet, shaking it off, waving a hand to the kids. "Get back, Emily," rolling his shoulders, glancing back at the woman. "You want to dance?" he muttered. "Fine, let's dance." What followed was chaos. Beautiful. Brutal. Blade and fist clashed. His moves were sharp, efficient, military. Hers were wild, fluid, almost predatory. Every strike came with purpose, every block with power. Her fighting style was like nothing David had ever seen before, and he'd seen nearly every combat form known to man. He caught her arm, twisted. She flipped him. He ducked, rolled, then disarmed her with a crack of metal against the wall. Her blade clattered to the floor. Then they kept going, hand to hand, no hesitation. They destroyed the room. Chairs overturned, lamps exploded, a wooden beam cracked under the force of a missed blow. The kids stood frozen, stunned. Emily edged closer to Kat, whispering in disbelief. "Who is she?" Kat just shook her head wide-eyed. "I don't know. I thought she was with you guys." David and the woman slammed into the far wall. He had her pinned, her wrists caught against the drywall, breath ragged, both of them scraped and bruised. She glared at him, sweat streaking her temple. "You think you'll win," she snarled. "You will never win." Then, in a voice low and guttural, she hissed something in a language that shimmered in the air. "Naya Solvina! Tua!" The words hung like a spell. David blinked, startled, his guard down. "What did you say?" She roared and flipped him, slamming him to the floor. He grunted, breath knocked out of his chest, but he didn't move, not yet, just stared up at her. This furious warrior with eyes blazing like coals, muscles tight, fists trembling above him. And then, a flash, a memory. The shape of her face, familiar under the fury. The heat of her gaze. The vow he'd heard once, in another lifetime, in another war. His voice barely made a sound. "Talia?" The name hit the air like a thunderclap. She froze. The fire in her gaze faltered, just for a heartbeat. Then the world shifted. The light changed. Not suddenly, not with sound or fanfare, but with a shimmer. A soft shift in the air like the turning of a page no one saw move. Gone was the battered garage, the shadows of a city. In its place, a world of living light. A city suspended in twilight. Trees stretched impossibly high, their branches woven with ribbons of gold and silver. Glowing vines curled around the crystal spires, humming with ancient energy. The walkways floated, smooth stone paths suspended by magic over drifting pools that reflected stars not yet born. The air was filled with music, though no instruments played. It was the sound of magic, of power held in balance. And on the highest walkway, beneath the curve of an arched bridge strung with light like falling rain, two figures walked side by side. They were tall, regal, radiant in the way only ancient elfkin were. Cloaks draped from their shoulders, gold thread shimmered at the edge of their armor. Soul guards, signia, gleamed like the suns. Syrian, high guard of the soul, moved like gravity wrapped in grace. His skin held the glow of starlight, his white gold hair falling to his shoulders in silken waves. A long blade rested across his back, and his eyes, silver touched with blue, missed nothing. Beside him walked another soul, older, sharper. Their voices were low, serious, speaking of politics, patrols, and whispers of unrest in the outlands. Above them, unseen, a shadow moved in the trees, watching. Syrian slowed. "I'll take the north route," he said, voice smooth and practiced. "The council will wait." The other nodded, bowing slightly. "Until they summon us, my lord." The Syrian turned, walking alone into the shimmering dark. The path narrowed as he walked, winding through a canopy of vines and light. His steps were careful, quiet. And then a rush of movement. A blur of red and shadow dropped from above like a falling star. Syrian spun, too slow. He hit the ground with a hard thud. A knee pressed into his chest, a blade to his throat. Above him, a figure, armored, breathing hard, cloaked in crimson fire. A voice low, mocking. "You let your guard down, soul guard." Very sloppy. Syrian stared up, heart racing, and laughed. "Only for you, Talia." He reached up and pulled the helmet from her head. Her curls spilled out like ink in water. Her skin glowed like polished bronze, kissed by flame, and her eyes, oh, her eyes, burned with the flashes of fire, like embers lit from within. He smiled, and she kissed him. For a moment the world narrowed to just that, her weight atop him, his fingers in her curls, their breaths mingling with the heat and memory. Then she pulled back, bracing her arms on either side of him. "They're sending me to the outlands," she said quietly. His smile faded. "How long?" "I don't know, maybe months, maybe more." He shifted under her, concern marked on his face. "It's getting worse, isn't it?" She didn't answer. She didn't have to. He sat up slowly, careful not to break the moment. "What have you heard?" "The fire sages say the borders are unraveling. Magic is twisted. There are things in the wilds that shouldn't be." "Arcane," Syrian whispered. "The chaos is growing." His expression darkened. "Then the tool will gather soon." She hesitated. "And what about us?" Her voice was soft, vulnerable. "What happens when they find out?" "When they find out," he says, "that I've given my heart to a fire guardian." He smiled faintly, brushing her cheek with his knuckles. "They'll scold me." She laughed once, low and bitter. "They'll exile you. It is forbidden." He pulls her slightly closer. "The soul are the stars, elite, proud." Taking her hand, he raises it to his lips, kissing her hand gently. "But what is a star without fire?" She sighs and looks down. "They won't let this stand." He laughs. Then we won't stand. We'll burn together. They embrace, eyes closed. Then a sound broke the silence. Footsteps approaching, echoing against the stone. Talia slips her helmet back on in one fluid motion and stands, moving away from Syrian, who stands and regains his regal presence. Another elf approaches, dark, cloaked, soul armor marked with gold bands. "My lord Syrian," they say, bowing low. "You are summoned. The Tua convenes. The hall awaits." Talia bows as well, her head lowered. But the new arrival paused. "You as well, Guardian of Flame." She looked up, startled. "A full council?" The elf nods. "All factions, all guardians." Syrian and Talia exchange a look. 1,000 words pass between them in a breath. "I fear our time is ending," Syrian whispers. Talia clenched her fists. "Then let us not waste what remains." They turn, walking side by side into the growing light of the Tua's call. The memory fades and present opens once again. Talia still on top of David, just as she was in the memory. Her eyes glowed, fire and fury, and something else now, confusion, recognition, and pain. She breathes. Her voice softens. "Syrian?" He reaches up, blood on his lip, smile cracked but real, his hand slightly touching her cheek. "My fire."